All right. Today we're going to build off of what we were doing yesterday, or Wednesday or Thursday. Whenever we talked about finding area of a triangle, okay, and we said that if for this rectangle, if it is 8 inches by 4 inches, to find the area of the rectangle, A equals length times width. The length is 8, the width is 4, and so for this rectangle, it'd be 32 inches squared. If we took this rectangle and we made it into 2 triangles, what would the area of each of the triangles be?
Half of what the full rectangle?
It would be half of whatever the rectangle was. Okay, because a triangle is half of a rectangle. And so when we find the area of a triangle, we use the equation A equals 1/2 base times height. Once again, the base is 8, the height is 4, and so we can take the 1/2 times either of the even numbers. 1/2 times 8 is 4, and now 4 times 4 is 16, which is obviously half of the 32. So today, we're going to find area of odd shapes. When we have odd shapes, what we want to do is we want to make triangles and rectangles out of that shape. Now obviously, if we have this shape, the easiest way to make a triangles and rectangles, would be to put the dotted line there. So now, if we're going to find the area of this rectangle, the area of a rectangle is length times width. The length is 20, the width is 10, which would be 200. So the area of this rectangle would be 200 inches squared. Now we need to find the area of the triangle. Now, for the triangle, A equals 1/2 base times height. Looking at our shape, the base is going to be that. Now, how can we find out what the length of that base is?
Take the 20 inches minus the 14 inches.
We know the total distance from here to here is 20. Up here, we've gone 14 to this point. So we need to know, we know 14 plus something equals 20, or 20 minus 14, which would be 6. So the base in this situation would be 6. Now, how are you going to find the height? Addie?
You take the total height of the rectangle and the triangle, which is 14 inches, minus the 10.
We know from here to here is 10, and we know from here to here is 14. We know the 10 because it says it right here. We know the 14 because it says it right here. So from here to here is 10, and here to here is 14. What is the height of that triangle? 4. And so the base is 6, and the height is 4. And so once again, we take the 1/2 times either of the even numbers. 1/2 times 6 is 3, so now we have 3 times 4, and that gives you 12. So that triangle would be 12 inches squared. And now all we got to do to find the area of the overall shape is we're going to add up the area of the rectangle plus the area of the triangle. And so 200 plus 12 gives us 212 inches squared. And so the overall shape, or the area of the overall shape, would be 212 inches squared. Okay? Questions about that? Now, let's say we had something like this. I'll give you a chance to write it down in a couple seconds. Okay? Here we have a trapezoid. Now, I will tell you up front, there is a formula for finding area of a trapezoid. There is a formula. But I'm not going to show you the area, talk about the area, the formula for area of a trapezoid, because it's just one more formula that you're going to have in your head that you're going to forget. So, as Mrs. Feltman's uncle taught me, let's use a little bit of common sense here. Okay? We're going to make rectangles and triangles out of this. So now, if we want to make rectangles and triangles out of it, what do we know about the rectangle? What can someone tell me about the measurements of the rectangle? Anybody? We know to find area of a rectangle, it is A equals length times width. What is the length of the rectangle, Max?
It would be... I thought I had it.
Nadia?
I'm pretty sure it would be 6 inches, right?
We could use 6 as our length. The other measurement would be, Parker?
14.
The 14. I'm going to use the 14 as my length. So my length is 14, and my width is going to be 6. Because I can make a rectangle out of that shape. And so 14 times 6 would be 84. If these are in inches, it'd be 84 inches squared. Now, we have triangles. There's 2 different ways that we can approach this. One way is to find the area of triangle A and then triangle B. What do we know about, what do you think, or what can you tell me about triangle A or triangle B?
Triangle A and B are the same.
Okay, we can say that they're going to be congruent. Okay, if they are congruent, what can you tell me about the dimensions of the triangle? First of all, we know that the formula is A equals 1/2 base times height. What can you tell me about the triangles if they are congruent? Finley?
The height will be 6.
The height would be 6. What about the base?
The base would be 3.
Why?
Because 14...
The rectangle's length is?
14, and then you need 6 more, so if you divide 6 by 2, you get 3, and they're congruent.
Very good. He took the 20, the total length of the base, minus the 14, so we got 6 left over. There's 2 triangles, so he took that 6, he broke it in half and put 3 on one side and 3 at the other. Make sense? And so, we have, for triangle A, 1/2 times 3 times 6. Well, if we take the 1/2 times the 6, 1/2 times 6 is 3. And so now we have 3 times 3, which is 9. And so triangle A would have an area of 9 inches squared. Since triangle B is congruent, that is also going to be 9 inches squared. Now we could add them all up. 84 and a half, or 84, the 9, and the 9. 84 plus 9 is 93. 93 plus 9 would be 102. And it would be 102 inches squared. There is a second way that we could do this. The second way is this. Since we know that there is 6 left over,
Wait, how would it be 102?
add up the 84 for the rectangle, the 9 for this triangle, and the 9 from that triangle. Okay?
I only added 1 9.
Okay. The second thing we could do is triangle A and triangle B, if we combine them, it would look like that, correct? Here's triangle A, there's triangle B. Agreed? This is 3, this is 3, so the total base would be 6, because there's 6 left over, right? And the height is 6. So A equals 1/2 base times height. A equals 1/2. The base is 6, and the height is 6. Half times 6 is 3, and now 3 times 6 gives me 18, which is what we ended up here, 9 and 9. Okay? So it doesn't matter to me how you want to do it. If you want to think about these as 2 independent triangles and find the area of those independent triangles and then add it all together. Or if you want to think about these triangles being basically one combined triangle where we're going to add the bases together, that is fine as well. It doesn't matter to me how you want to do it. To me, the easiest thing, the less confusing, is just treat them as 2 separate triangles. Okay? But that's up to you. Okay? Questions? Now, as I've said, you're going to have different shapes. And the object is to make them rectangles and triangles. Okay? And so you take this odd shape and you break it into rectangles and triangles and you simply find the areas. Now, if I want to really make this, I'll leave it like that. And so we have, let's say that this is, something like that. Okay? So, first thing we're going to do, find the area of the rectangle, right? A equals length times width. What is the length of my rectangle?
10.
Now,
13.
Max.
13.
Now,
But it,
Parker.
14.
14. From here to here is 10. And then from here to here is 4.
I was looking at the 3.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the length is 14. My width is 10. So 14 times 10 is 140 inches squared. So our rectangle has that. This is triangle A. This is triangle B. You guys find the area of triangle A. You guys find the area of triangle B. Go ahead quickly.
On your whiteboard?
Yeah, any board or paper. What's that?
Would this be squared?
Anytime you find area that your unit is measured in square units. For triangle A. Formula is A equals 1/2 base times height. A equals 1/2. The base is 4. The height is. So I take the 1/2 times the 4, that is 2. And then 2 times 3 will be 6. And so it will be 6 inches squared. Okay? For triangle B, A equals 1/2 base times height. A equals 1/2. The base is 4. The height is 1/2 times 4 is 2. And now 2 times 8 is 16. And that would be 16 inches squared. And so now, to find the overall area of the shape, I would add up the 140, the 16, and the 6. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Now, if you open your books up to your assignment for today,
Page?
277. Number 11, you had a shape that looked like that. And they would ask you, how do you find the area of that? Someone come up here and show me how you would find, how we'd break those into rectangles and triangles. Max? What's that?
What if there's a triangle?
No, then there's no triangles. Then it's all rectangles. Okay. Is there another way you could possibly do that? Kyle? Okay, with the way Matt did that is fine. I'm going to erase it. That doesn't change at all. Very good. And so you can do it that way. Yes?
Wouldn't there be a square in that?
I don't know what the measurements are. I mean, I didn't draw it to scale. Okay? But if it ends up being a square, then it's a square. If it's, I don't know what the measurements are.
Every
Okay.
square is a rectangle.
Yeah, right.
So it would still be length times length.
Yeah, exactly. Okay? What if we did this one? How would you do that? Trying to find the area of Parker. And obviously I didn't draw very good because that can come like that. Okay? What about this? Finley? And once again, I didn't draw it perfectly. You just draw a line, whatever. And if I were to have drawn it properly, it would make a rectangle, and I would have two triangles. Okay? Yes?
The other way?
Is there another way?
Couldn't you make two trapezoids out of it?
Oh, you're saying... If it's like that, and then you would... Okay, and then you can do something like that. Okay? But the key is, if you can make rectangles or triangles out of every shape, it's very easy. Okay, you just gotta look at the pictures and recognize them. Okay? Any questions? Yes.
In our book, it has these weird angle things that I'm confused by.
What page?
237.
On sheet number 12?
Yeah, number 11 is not what it has.
It just said, when you see it, I think it looks like this. Like that. That just means that each of these lengths are 2. Okay? Any other questions? Other questions? Okay. Your homework then. On page 282.
What should we have wrote down in our notebooks?
If you want to draw some of these examples down, you can.